it possible that we could actually see Rich Rodriguez, good old Rich Rod, roaming the sidelines once again as the coach of West Virginia Mountaineers football team? Pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and let's talk about it. What is up, college sports fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos, and welcome into another edition of Coos' Corner. Pull that chair up and let me serve you up this shot of top shelf college football content. On tap today, we're talking Rich Rod. We're talking potential future coach at West Virginia. We all know, no secret, Neal Brown's on the hot seat. He's 3-5 on the season. He's in year 4. The West Virginia fan base expected us to be better this year. I personally am one of those people that have saying there needs to be a change made there. I've said it multiple times on this show. It's no secret. Now I'm hearing that Rich Rod could be a potential candidate for the job, or at least he's wanted to be a candidate for the job by one major donor there. Now, what I'm hearing is from a source who has connections with someone who has coached under Rich Rodriguez and has coached and knows Rich Rodriguez really, really well. And according to this source, a major donor at West Virginia, or for West Virginia, has stated that he is willing to pay the entirety of Neal Brown's buyout if West Virginia will bring Rich Rodriguez back. I'm going to say that again. A major donor at West Virginia has reportedly stated that he will pay the entirety of Neal Brown's buyout at West Virginia if they will rehire Rich Rodriguez. Now, I know what a lot of you are saying, well, Coos, you just said a few days ago that we were getting Hugh Freeze and you don't know what you're talking about. And I understand that. That was old information. I received that from completely different sources. And I think they were receiving accurate information. They may have just been receiving it for the wrong reasons. I don't know. Because it looks like maybe Hugh Freeze's agent was using West Virginia as leverage because he just signed a lucrative new extension at Liberty that pays him almost $5 million a year, which is more than what Neal Brown makes. So I don't see West Virginia hiring Hugh Freeze now. But this new information just came to me within the last 2 to 3 days. And, will it happen? I don't know. How much weight does it have? I don't know. But it is interesting. And it is possible because this donor has been a donor at West Virginia for a long time and was around during the Rich Rod era. So it is very possible that they would want him back. Now, I know a lot of you are probably spitting out your drink. A lot of you, if you're watching this on your phone, you may throw your phone out the darn window when I said that because you probably still have a lot of animosity towards Rich Rod for the way he left the program. Now, at one time I did too, but not anymore. I have forgiven Rich Rod. I heard his side of the story. And if what he said is true and they wouldn't even give him $50,000 to pay his assistant coaches, and they didn't live up to some things that they told him they would when he chose not to go to Alabama the year before, then he probably had every right to leave. I'll be honest. So therefore, I've kind of, plus time heals wounds, right? So I've let it go. Now, since leaving West Virginia, he's also been involved in some scandals. He got fired at Arizona for reportedly having a hostile work environment. There's more to that story. I'll let you Google it and figure it out for yourself if you're not already aware of the situation. It wasn't a good look for Rich Rod. But that's been several years ago. It's in the past. I said when it came to Hugh Freeze, I'm willing to give people second chances. So I would be willing to give Rich Rod a second chance at West Virginia for those reasons. However, I've also stated I'm not a huge fan of recycling old coaches. It didn't work with Randy Edsall at UConn. It didn't work with Bobby Petrino at Louisville. It doesn't seem to be working with Greg Schiano at Rutgers, although they are in a much tougher conference now. It didn't work with Paul Pasqualoni at Syracuse. It's not worked with a lot of different coaches. Now, there's a few it has worked with. It's, Mac Brown seems to be doing good at North Carolina on a second stint there. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but just historically, it doesn't work more often than it does. Right? That's my point. So I'm not a huge fan of that. But as we sit here today, as I record this video on October 31st, happy Halloween, by the way, of 2022, West Virginia's 3-5 on the year. We've not seen any improvement over the last 4 years as a program. Do I think, or would I take Rich Rodriguez over Neal Brown today? Absolutely, I would. Let's look at Rich Rodriguez as a coach. His career record as a Power 5 coach, 118 and 83, which is a 59% winning percentage. He's 5-6 in bowl games. His first coaching job was at West Virginia, head coaching job at the Power 5 level, I may add. At West Virginia, he was there from 2001 through 2007, compiled a record of 60-26, only had one losing season, which was his very first year, and after that, he never won less than 9 games. Anyway, he was 60-26 at West Virginia and 2-3 in bowl games. Left West Virginia to go to Michigan, where it didn't work out there at all. He was there 2008 to 2010, only a record of 15-22, only went to one bowl game and lost it. Was fired after year 3. They brought Brady Hoke in, who did well at Michigan, but won with Rich. He won his, I think they won a Big 12 title under Brady Hoke, if I'm not mistaken. They did it with Rich Rodriguez as recruits, guys. I want you to remember that. When Rich Rodriguez's recruits left Michigan, a couple years later, Michigan went downhill again, and Brady Hoke ended up getting fired. So I think if Michigan had left Rich Rod alone, let him run the program the way he wanted to, I think Michigan would have won eventually. I really do. Now, his next stint after leaving Michigan, he was out of coaching for a year. He gets hired at Arizona. He was at Arizona from 2012 through 2017. Had some success at Arizona. Finished with a record of 43-35. Was 3-2 in bowl games, and did take Arizona to a Pac-12 title game. They got blown out in that game by Oregon, but they did make the title game and had a good season that year. And he was doing pretty well there. I think he could have continued to do well had that whole scandal deal not happened. And I'm not going to give my opinion on that. I'll let you figure that out for yourself. Like I said, if you don't know what happened there, Google Rich Rodriguez in Arizona, and I'm sure you'll find it. But anyway, he was out of coaching for a little while. He's been an O coordinator since then at Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin's first staff. And then last season, he was offensive coordinator under Terry Bowden at Louisiana Monroe before getting hired to be the head coach at Jacksonville State, where he is today. And this year at Jacksonville State, who's an FCS school, they are 7-2 on the season right now. So Rich Rodriguez, once again, is winning football as a head coach. Now, like I said, it is at the FCS level. But would I take Rich Rodriguez back as a head coach of West Virginia? He's not my top candidate for the job, but I will take him back over Neal Brown. Absolutely. Now, look, I did a poll on my YouTube channel a couple days ago. Said I gave him an option. I said, would you rather have Neal Brown or Rich Rodriguez? Over 70% of the respondents picked Rich Rodriguez out of over 200 people who voted. No, it's not scientific, obviously, but I think it does give you a feel for how aggravated and disappointed the fan base is in Neal Brown and his tenure here, and also tells you that the fan base, for the most part, I think has forgiven Rich Rod. But the thing is, has the Board of Regents forgiven Rich Rod, and have the other donors forgiven Rich Rod? Because there's more than one donor at West Virginia, and the Board of Regents at the end of the day are the ones who make the final call on a head coach. And would they be willing to give Rich Rodriguez a second chance after the way he left the school, and also with the scandals that have ensued at other stops along the way? Would they be willing to bring him back to the sidelines? You know my opinion. I've given it to you. I say yes if we can't get a better candidate. I want to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Would you like to have Rich Rodriguez back on the sidelines as the head football coach for the Mountaineers? Yes or no? If you have other candidates you'd like to throw out there as well, let me know. We obviously know Hugh Freeze is probably off the table at this point, but there are other quality coaches out there that could be available if Neal Brown gets fired. Neal Brown hasn't been fired yet, but if he gets fired, and there's a good chance it looks like he might, let me know in the comment section. Like I said, what do you think about this situation? Guys, if you want to support me financially, there's 2 big ways you can do it. You can check out my merch store where you can get your shirt, a hat, a hoodie, T-shirt, a mouse pad, iPhone case, all different items over there. Check that out. Links at the top of the description box. You can become a member of my channel by hitting join right below. Take advantage of the perks I have to offer. I recently did a full interview with Avon Coburn, the leading rusher at West Virginia history. As part of that interview, we talk about the transition from Rich Rodriguez to from Don Nehlen to Rich Rodriguez. He played for both. You'll hear his opinion on that. But only channel members get access to the full video. So check that out. Also, if you want to support me absolutely free, there's several ways you can do it. You can like the video, share the video with your friends, drop that comment. And last but not least, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Help me grow this baby. And oh, by the way, shout out to new channel member FSU45. FSU45, I really appreciate your support for my channel. Thanks for being a member. And guys, that shout out is one of the other perks I offer as a channel member. So hit the join button and you'll see all the other perks that are out there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you tuning into this video. And until the next one, Q Country Roads.